من المكتب يمكن 25 minutes 20 minutes maybe. إذا على طريق روي سريع ترى، روي الوادي الكبير
ايوه
ما بعيد، بس إذا من الخوض صحيح بعيد شوي.
Recording in progress.
هذا بالإنجليزي لا؟ بالإنجليزي لا؟
Hello and thank you all for attending OKEP's investor call for its first half 2025 financial results. I am Rido Wahyudi from the Investor Relation team. With me today, I have Mr. Jaber Al-Numani, Chief Financial Officer, and Dr. Anwar Al-Kharousi, Chief Executive Commercial. We have an hour scheduled for today's call. We will start with a brief presentation to review OKEP's results, and we will then go to Q&A session. Next. Before we start, a brief disclaimer. In this presentation, we make forward-looking statements that refers to our estimates, plans, and expectations. Actual results and outcomes could differ materially due to a range of factors not on this slide and in our MSX filings. Please refer to our annual report and MSX filings for more details, all of which are available on IR website. And now I will hand over to Mr. Jaber.
Thank you, Mr. Rido. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good afternoon and good morning to the valued investors being with us today. So today we would like to highlight the key achievements of OQ Exploration Production for the first half of this year. The company posted a very robust financial performance driven from its operational excellence and cost discipline for the first half of 2025. Despite the fact that the oil prices witnessed in the first half of 2025 were lower by around $8 or around 11% as compared to the first half of 2024. However, the company managed to increase the volume of oil and condensate in the first half of this year by around 1.1 million barrels. And that really helps the company to sustain its top line and our profitability when it comes to operating profit and net profit and gross profit at the same level of H1 2024. The company posted a net profit of around 167 million Omani Riyal and an adjusted cash flow from operation of 289 Omani Riyal. Recently, the board they have recommended to the shareholders ordinary general meeting the base dividends of around $150 million to be paid for Q2 of this year and another $150 million to be paid for Q3 of this year. As well as the board has proposed a performance dividends fulfilling the commitment that the company made in the prospectus last year at the listing of paying performance-linked dividends for its operational performance. The board, they have approved a performance dividends for H1 to be paid in 2 installments in Q3 and Q4 of this year of $115 million. Recently as well, the company has launched its shares buyback program of buying 45 to 60 million shares, really to emphasize on maximizing the shareholder value, creating long sustainable growth, as well as regaining the investors' confidence on the company performance in the long term. Next slide. So in here, we're providing details of the operational performance as well as the financial performance H1 of this year compared to H1 of last year. As I mentioned, our oil and condensate volumes, they have gone up by around 11%, despite the fact that the oil prices, they have dropped by around 9.5%. Our gas volumes more or less stayed the same, despite the fact that we had a turnaround in our major block that we are partnering up with BP in block 61 in Q1 of this year, and accordingly the Riyadh oil price, it was driven from that turnaround of the plant not being available for that specific period of 2 to 3 weeks. Our revenue more or less remained flat, as well as our gross profit, our EBITDA as well, and mainly that comes from the volumes that we pushed when it comes to oil condensate, but also from the cost discipline that we have exercised during this period. Our capex dropped by around 20%, and that's due to rephasing in our operation in block 10. And our return on capital employed was basically higher by around 3% as compared to H1 of last year. So comparing our results for Q1 of this year versus Q2, so the main indices again, the oil and condensate volume, they went up by around 10%. We witnessed the oil price decrease. After block 61, as I mentioned in the previous slide, the ramp up was in Q2, and hence we pushed more volume when it comes to gas. But the more or less the gas price will remain flat. And accordingly, our revenues has gone up. We continue to exercise cost discipline when it comes to the impact on the gross profit and our basically net profit as well. Our cash flow has increased. Our capex, we start ramping up the activities. We continue to also have discipline when it comes to debt raising. So accordingly, our net debt has gone down, and quarter to quarter, return on capital employed has gone up by around 16%. When it's come to our share performance and the dividend yield, OQ Exploration Production today, as compared to its peers, is one of the most attractive companies, I would say, not only in Oman, in MSX, but also within the region, and worldwide compared to its peers within the oil and gas industry. Our dividend yield is ranging around 10.6 as compared to our peers. At the current share price, which makes it very attractive, basically for investors to come and invest. And that's one thing that we always aim for in maximizing the shareholder returns, ensuring that we sustain dividends when it comes to long term, focusing on growth, and looking and scouting for more opportunities to sustain our operation while focusing on cost discipline, and operational efficiency. With this, I'll hand over to my colleague, Dr. Anwar, to take you through more operational insights when it comes to our operations in the different blocks that we are in.
Thank you, Jaber. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm gonna take you through our latest updates in the various blocks that we have in the portfolio, starting from our flagship asset that we operate internally, Block 60. We are happy to announce that Block 60 expansion has been delivered ahead of time on budget, and now we have added an extra oil capacity of about 37,000 barrels of oil per day, which will be used to connect our wells into the system and lead to an increase in production by about 10%. In our Block 53, which is a joint venture with Occidental in Oman, I would like to highlight that we have signed the agreement amendment with the government, which led to improved fiscals for OQEP and the partners. It also led to a lower gas cost in the agreement, and that improves the cash flow and financials for Block 53 for OQEP. We move on to our Block 61, that block which is operated by BP in Oman, where we are partners. We have updated the FDP with the operator BP, and now getting ready to basically take the discussion forward for additional gas production, which goes into an additional LNG capacity, inshallah. That project is currently under finalization with the government to be FID'd, I hope, early 2026. When we go to our Block 10 Marsa project, the project, as we have updated you before, is a flagship gas LNG project whereby gas from Block 10 is going to be used for LNG bunker in Sohar. The project has been inaugurated, the construction is ongoing, and the plan is to finalize the plant, inshallah, in 2028 when we start the LNG bunker facility arrangement. In Block 8, which we operate on behalf of government on a service level agreement with the government, we have drilled a new well, which is currently being analyzed and tested, and that will hopefully add new gas to the portfolio in the Musandam region. I would also highlight on the growth and exploration, we have signed within the first half of this year a new agreement with the government on Block 54, and with a new partner, General Energies, which is based in London. The agreement, the so-called IPSA agreement, has been signed, and activities have started ramping up to conduct an early well test by the end of this year, early next year. On Block 47, which is an exploration asset operated by the Italian ENI, and where OQEP is also a partner, the well has been drilled, and at the moment it's being analyzed. The results are being analyzed, the logs are being re-looked at to ascertain the results and the outcome of this exploration well. Block 11 has been under appraisal scheme. There are more wells sorry, there are more wells which are to be drilled in the upcoming half year of 2025, and also in early 2026. With these wells, we will be finalizing the so-called field development plan, which will ascertain the development mechanism for the block. I want to highlight also that we have been working with closely with the government on the so-called Project Sun Oman border blocks. So for block, the onshore blocks 36, 43A, and 66, we have now been obtained basically offers from selective potential operators and partners, and at the moment the government with OQEP and Scotiabank are looking at the assessment of these offers. We also have received an offer on the offshore block 18, and similarly we are now analyzing the offer. Hopefully all of these 4 blocks would lead to an investment hopefully by the early 2026, late 2025. We did also additionally signed a cooperation agreement with Turkish Petroleum to look at potential collaborations in Oman and elsewhere with Turkish Petroleum and OQEP going forward. Next slide. Here I would like to highlight and reiterate our strategy delivering value for the shareholder. It's based on 3 pillars. One of them is resilience, the second is agility, and the third is delivering value for our shareholders. In terms of resilience, as you have seen by my colleague Mr. Jaber, we have achieved very strong financial output. We have delivered on our production promises. We have been growing the company for the past 15 years and will continue to do so. We have delivered on the return on the capital employed, 24%, which is a very good result for OQEP. We shall maintain and continue to maintain our cost competitiveness. We are now operating below $10 per barrel oil equivalent, and we shall maintain that going forward, basically adhering to the best and most robust standards when it comes to operations, cost competitiveness, and financial delivery. In terms of agility, I would like to highlight that we have a superb portfolio that gives a strength to our basically balance sheet. We have low leverage. At the moment we are sitting at 0.27 times EBITDA, which is really robust. We have a flexible basically capex model where if there are challenges in oil prices, we can quickly adapt and in an agile form to basically continue delivering shareholder value. In terms of indeed shareholder value, as you heard my colleague Mr. Jaber, we have maintained and continue to pay the base dividend, but also we are now moving into the new payment for the first time of the performance-linked dividend. And as also the CFO highlighted, we are embarking on a program to buy back our shares to help basically retain value for the shareholders. Next slide. Well, here I'll hand over to Mr. Ridu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anwar, Mr. Jaber. Okay, before we start our Q&A session, we want to update you briefly that we have launched our IR website as a primary source of information for our investor. You will find all of our disclosure, announcement, reports, and presentation here. Please check it out, and if you have any feedback, please let us know. Also, you will be able to find out our annual report and sustainability report on the website. More recently, OQEP also has been recognized by Forbes as one of the top 100 listed companies in the Middle East. Okay, please note also that we will have 2 investor relations on September. First, we will join our OQ Group Capital Market Days and continue with the MERA 2025 annual conference. Both events will be held in Muscat. And now we will start our Q&A session. Please raise your hand using feature in Zoom or write your question in the Q&A box. Yeah, okay. Now in our screen, Mana Thomas, please go ahead. Please introduce your name and your institution before you ask the question. Mana Thomas, please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. This is Manna from. Good afternoon. This is Manna from United Securities. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Regarding the oil production and sales volume. So the oil production during the first half, it declined by 5% to 120,000 barrels per day from 126,000. But the sales volume actually increased by 10% to 11.3 million barrels. So if you look at the second quarter specifically, the sales have grown by 9%. So could you help us understand the drivers behind the higher sales volume while the production was lower?
Okay, thank you, Mana. I think for this question, Mr. Jaber, or Mr. Jaber, you can.
Yeah, so maybe I'll comment on this, and maybe also from operational point of view, Dr. Anwar can also chip in. So we have part of our portfolio, we are having 3 blocks which are sensitive to oil price. And these blocks, basically, it has a mechanism in their exploration production sharing agreement that the contractors or the partners in the blocks, whenever the oil prices goes lower, they get more basically entitlement to barrels. In a sense, they're lifting from the barrels, and cost recovery increase when oil prices drop to up to a certain level. And maybe Dr. Anwar can chip in here.
I will also highlight that indeed this is a good observation, and partly it is also attributed to the very latest indeed amendment which we signed for Block 53. It gives rise to basically also more oil intake, if you like, by the contractor group, including OQEP. So this has led to more indeed, sale volume to OQEP.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jaber and Dr. Anwar. Now the second question will come from Ildar. Ildar, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. This is Ildar Gazia from HSBC. I have a couple of questions, please. First, on Block 53, you announced the changes in the fiscal terms for the contract and lower gas costs in the agreement. Can you tell us whether this has been already enacted? And if not, when do you expect these new terms to start? That's my first question. And secondly, on B60, after the completion of B-side C expansion, can you tell us what was the impact on production so far? Thank you.
So maybe I'll take the first question where it comes to the impact and basically the
impact Block 53.
Yeah, so the impact on 53, yes, it has been captured in our financials. So the effective date of basically the new terms, it was 1st of March, despite the fact that the agreement was signed in May, but it was backdated to the 1st of March. So and hence, as mentioned by Dr. Anwar, that we captured the results or the impact of that into our financials of H1.
Sorry, any chance you could possibly quantify the impact in your
Ildar, can you louder?
Yeah, sorry, any chance you could possibly quantify the impact of the improved terms of Block 53 on your financial results in Q2?
Yeah, we can come back to you with that at the later stage.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ildar.
There was another part on Block 60.
Okay, so for the second question will be answered by Dr. Anwar.
Yeah. So indeed, for Block 60, as I described, the Station C provides additional capacity to process both oil and water. And this is where the upside comes to OQEP. Now we can connect more and more of the, let's say, high water cut wells which produce oil with a lot of water. So now all of these wells can be connected into the station, and we can benefit from the oil that these wells bring. And this is where the upside, comes in for OQEP.
Thank you so much. Do you think you may be in a position later this year maybe to update your guidance for the production for 2025, or this is too early?
Can you repeat again, Ildar?
Yes, so basically I just was wondering if you could tell us whether your full year guidance already captures this potential upside, or maybe you may be in a position later this year to update us on your forecasts for production for the full year. Thank you.
Yeah, I think in that regard, I think it's a bit too early to basically revise our guidance for this year. Now we are in the process of stabilizing the station, and seeing basically how it performs for the next few months. And we'll be basically updating our guidance maybe for next year accordingly once we have the station stabilized and running at full swing.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ildar. Now the third question coming from Boris. Boris, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. It's Boris Sinitsyn from Oman Investment Bank. Basically, I have just one question. In presentation, you gave the guidance for gross OPEX. It was like below $10 per equivalent barrel for 2020. Just wondering what was the level in the first half 2025, sorry.
Yeah, so when it comes to the OPEX guidance, so we are in around the $9.5 to $10 per BOE for the OPEX. So we are in the same range that we indicated in the guidance, if not slightly lower. And that's why I said in the beginning of the presentation that we are really focusing on cost discipline, and hence, despite that our sale volume has increased in the first half, our cost in general remains flat as compared to last year.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you so much, and congratulations on decent results.
Thank you.
Thank you, Boris. Now I will read a question from the chat box from Colin Smith. The question is, can you advise the working interest production and the related oil and gas split?
You mean for OQEP or for some certain blocks?
For all OQEP, for the consolidated. Yeah. I think there is a slide for this. So for Colin, the production is 222. There is a slide. Later we will share the presentation so you can see the production and then the split. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I will remind again, if you have any question, please raise your hand. Okay. Now we receive question from Kausik Ramami. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the call and congrats on a very good set of numbers. I just had a couple of clarifications. The first is I want some information on Block 60. See, we know that the production will rise by around 10% post that Bisat-C, and also it will add another 4,000 on your working interest production. So is this the maximum that can happen, or can we see any further growth in production from this block, Block 60?
Kausik,
maybe
Dr.
I can take that. Not of course. Block 60 base plan is what you see today. Block 60 is working on additional growth projects, and these projects are yet to be basically introduced in the system. They need to be discussed with the government, they need to be approved, and then there is additional basically production and projects that will be utilizing the upgraded capacity that we have seen.
And just one more. So I just wanted to, can you please share with us the, the updated working interest output numbers for the different blocks, block 60, 61, 10, 9, 53 and 65, is it possible?
Yeah, we Kaushik, we have production in consolidated number. So if you want the detail, please contact us.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question will come from Bisen, Mr. Bisen. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible? Yeah, thank you for the call and congrats on a great set of numbers. Before I begin, just a general observation on behalf of the analyst community. We look forward to this call, eagerly every 6 months, every quarter. If you could just manage the process better, I'd appreciate that. I think there was a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos around the way the call was scheduled immediately after the results. The notification was given the same morning. So just a general observation, I think it'd be in good spirit if we could just get a heads up on the call next time. Now starting with the questions, if you mentioned block 53 and an extra capacity of 37,000 barrels a day, which would lead to a production growth of 10%. On a firm-wide basis, if you could, just say on an organic basis, what sort of increased production do you see firm-wide? If you could give us some insight into that for the second half and beyond. That's the first question, please.
Yeah, for this question, Dr. Anwar, can you?
So, it's the same question as we answered just now. There are immediate projects which are utilizing the additional capacity in Block 60, and these are indeed the high water cut wells. And there are some other additional projects that are coming in the pipeline. Each project is taking its course. There is, of course, as well, all the exploration which is going on in both Block 60 and 48 on similar, let's say, reservoirs as well. And this additional capacity will aid basically testing these wells. If you need maybe more detailed information, I guess that can be provided offline.
No, noted. Thank you. Apologies for the rhetoric. Okay, next question is with regards to the dividend. One of the key factors you mentioned about the stock is the dividend, and the dividend yield looks quite attractive, especially with the performance dividend kicking in from this half onward. Now, if you could just give us some insights in terms of any guidance on what a break-even oil price is. I had specifically asked this question on the last call, and you said you'll be in a better position to give us some rough idea once H1 numbers are out. So we've seen the average oil price 75 and 74 respectively, which is 74 for the first half. We've seen the declaration for the performance dividend. Now there are different ways of asking the same question, but I'll start with the basic one. In terms of, has the entire excess cash flow above base dividend been declared as performance dividend for first half? That's the first question.
So when it comes to the way how the performance-linked dividends is calculated and as stipulated in the prospectus. So normally we look into the H1 generated cash flow, and then we take 90% of that minusing the base dividends for the 2 quarters, let's say in the H1, and then the remaining will be basically available for distribution as base dividends. That's the formula as stipulated, as I mentioned, in the dividends policy set in the prospectus. Of course, looking into the future, I would say beyond 2026, something that the company is reviewing and basically along with the board, and there will be basically a communication maybe towards next year on the dividends guidance and policy beyond 2026.
Noted. Next question, could you give us some sort of, I understand it's a 3-year commitment.
Sorry, Bisan,
Yes.
I think we need to give other to us also, because here...
With due respect, my first observation was a general comment. I've asked one query, but if you feel I can come back in line, else just one more question. But I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, please allow the others, and then you can come back if the time allow. So,
Noted.
Thank you, Bisan. So now I will read from the chat box. The question came from Sandesh Sethi from Uber Capital. He have two questions. First, OQEP secured agreement with MEM to extend phase 1 of Block 47 by 6 months. Could you provide update on the progress so far? That's first. And second, OQEP also entered into exclusivity agreement with MEM and Turkish Petroleum Corporation. Could you share any updates on the development and outcomes under this arrangement? I think for these two questions, Dr. Anwar can explain.
Yes, so Block 47, as I was explaining in the highlights, we have been drilling a well with the operator ENI. The well has just reached the TD, the depth for the targets that we have planned for. Now we need to analyze and study, and the analysis will take a few months. The block contract expires in September, so we need to add at least 6 months beyond September to allow the operator and the partner OQEP to basically conclude the way with the study of the well results. Either go and conduct retesting or well testing basically of the well, or basically leave the block altogether. So at the moment this study is going on, and we hope inshallah that we will have good results. So we need the extension for that. On the other part of the question about the cooperation agreement with the Turkish Petroleum, this is a normal course of business whereby OQEP signs agreements with multiple companies to basically invest together, collaborate on potential investments in Oman. So at the moment we are basically brainstorming and studying which blocks should we basically look jointly together. Some of it, of course, come from the ongoing initiatives that we are discussing with the Ministry of Energy and Minerals, and we cannot disclose at this moment in time, but at the right time soon, we will be announcing and publishing, inshallah.
Thank you, Dr. Anwar. So I will read again a question from chat box from Saleh Al-Wayan. Can you please share how many shares have been bought back so far? I think for this, Mr. Jaber.
Yeah. So when it comes to our shares buyback program, now we are in the process of working out, on the details of the program with our partners, with our brokers, so that we can start executing the program in the stock exchange.
Mr. Jaber. So now I'm back to live question. The next question come from Abbas Muslimi. Please go ahead, Abbas.
Thank you for the opportunity. Couple of questions. One on the buyback. When you do finalize with your brokers, would you be announcing a maximum price for the buyback, and on a weekly basis, would you be announcing how many shares have been bought back?
So the details of the execution plan, now we are in discussion, as I mentioned, with our broker, but we are not most probably going to announce any pricing or maximum price. We are working now on the program, and that will be detailed and deliberated internally.
Okay, and the second question is, are there any plans for a stake sale similar to what you had in Block 60 a year or so ago, a couple of years ago? Are there any divestments on the table?
No, they are not.
Thank you.
Now, the next question coming from Joyce Matthew. Joyce, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for the presentation. A question on your capex guidance. During the time of the IPO, you said that your gross capex for 25-26 would be around 4 billion, and which equates to your working interest capex of around 250 million reals. So now your updated capex guidance now stands at around 700 to 900 million dollars, which is around 270 to 350 million reals. Why are you seeing this increase in spending right now? And that too, you're shifting your lower end to by another 20 million reals. So during this year, so far you have spent around 120 million reals. And as per this guidance, should we be looking at an accelerated spending of around 150 million reals during the second half? And also I wanted to check, how will this have an impact on your dividend, which is scheduled for the second half of this year, which will be distributed in first half next year?
Maybe I can take the second half, and maybe Dr. Anwar can chip in for the first one. When it comes to the impact of the capex on the dividends, we don't see really any, I would say, any impact or that is hindering our ability to pay dividends. I mean, we have been managing our capex spent and our capex programs over the last few years, as well as even at a low oil environment. We didn't have faced any struggle or any constraint where it comes to cutting our capex expenditure due to any reduced oil price environments. To the contrary, the company is really progressing its capex spend, looking into different ways and modern ways basically of managing our projects, coming with unconventional approaches where we execute our projects, not the traditional way, the APC way, but going more into what we call a de-boom concept, where we're basically contracting with our partners, the contractors running these facilities with us to design, operate, maintain, and own these facilities on a lease basis. And that's really gives us the opportunity to lower the upfront capex spend on these facilities and phase them out over the later parts of the years. And looking into different ways as well when it comes to delivering these projects and making sure that we deliver our projects on time, on budget, as promised, with the quality and HSE standards that we have. So all these elements really didn't impact our ability to manage projects, make sure that we deliver, but also not to face any cost cutting when it comes to capex spend that impacts our dividends ability.
Thank you, Mr. Jaber. So the next question will come from Ahmad Salim. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Jaber, a quick question on your recent announcement for dividends and bonus. Are they both linked? The September payment and November, are they both linked to the shareholders on 28th of August?
Yes, indeed. So, inshallah, once we have the approval on the ordinary general meeting, on the meeting that planned now on the 28th of August, so we'll have the approval from the shareholders for both Q2 and Q3 base dividends, and also we'll have the approval for the base dividends to be paid in Q3 and Q4. And accordingly, the payment will take place for the base and the performance in September, and respectively for Q3 it will happen inshallah in November for both the base and the performance.
Inshallah. Shukran jazilan. Thank you.
So now I'm back to chat box question. There is question from Mina Mahmudov. What do you think is the reason of the stock price falling down? And the second question, when is the company buyback will happen? I think for the second question is same with the previous question. For the first question, Mr. Jaber, why the share price going down?
Yeah, I think, I mean, share price going down, I think it's a market dynamics. I mean, that's what we have basically been seeing the market. So despite the fact that, I mean, the company performance has been, I would say, very robust. Our operational performance, financial performance, our dividend yield is the proof of that. We are, I think, the top-notch companies, as I mentioned, in the country, if not even at the GCC, paying a dividend yield of over 10%, which is very attractive for investors, basically even the short term or even long term.
Thank you, Mr. Jaber. So now back to live question. Ildar, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you so much. I have one more question about Block 53 and the changes in the contractual term. So you said that these terms have, were applicable from the 1st of March. Can I just double check whether the first quarter results captured the benefit of it, or rather into Q captured the retroactively the impact of the improved terms for the month of March of 1Q? Thank you.
For this question?
So
they are captured.
Yeah. So as I again, thank you, Elder, for your question. So indeed, the results, or the, for the new physical terms for Block 53, they have been captured part of our H1 results. So as you mentioned, the signing date was in May. However, the agreements were backdated to 1st of March. So indeed, the revised physicals, the revised gas price, and the improved production, they have been captured part of our H1 results.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jaber and Ildar. So I will read again from chat box the question from Ahmad Salim. In percentage, how do you envision the impact of the operational growth on your profitability for the coming few years? Can you quantify the impact, please? For this question,
I can comment that indeed. OQEP has demonstrated a tremendous growth in production, in reserves, in cash flow, and financial metrics, EBITDA, since inception 15 years ago. So we, increase our production from below 20,000 barrels to today's more than 220,000 barrels of oil, 1,000 barrels oil equivalent per day. The idea is to stay the course and continue the growth trajectory, and that's why we are working jointly with the government on several blocks. We are working on the government to amend some of the contracts, extend some of the contracts, and all of this leads to the growth that OQEP expects to bring basically to the table, basically on the same pace as was demonstrated in the past few years. So we have plenty of projects in the, let's say, growth opportunity funnel that we are assessing as we go through, be it operated, be it intrinsic, growth from existing assets, and growth from new projects. All of it is being looked at and assessed, and the idea is to continue on that growth pace as we move forward.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Anwar. And now back to live question. Joyce, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. This is on Block 61. Your current reserves are around 10 TCF, and you have a run rate of around 1.5 BCF, which essentially matches with the term of your EPSA right now. Now, you mentioned that you'll be looking at an additional 2 TCF additional resources. So I wanted to check, how will your production rate will be impacted? Are you planning to work within the current EPSA by lifting 20% more, or extend the EPSA beyond current 2043 deadline? Because I know that the field is already tested for 1.8 BCF, so you can essentially lift it. But at the same time, you mentioned that there is a train which the FID has to come next year. So how are we matching? How are you matching this? Is it contingent on? Is the additional production contingent on the train coming on stream?
Yeah.
Okay, I can take that. So Block 61, the gas block, which is a major gas asset, not only for OQEP, but also for the government, currently is being monetized via 2 gas sale agreements and selling basically 1.5 BCF per day gas. The idea is that this will continue as per plan, and the idea is to increase the production from basically increased FDP or updated FDP from 1.5 BCF per day to 1.8 BCF per day, basically adding 300 million SCF per day additional production. And this will be additionally basically produced for the next 15, 20 years, dependent upon the agreement that will basically regulate, if you like, the LNG Train 4 investment. So the government has announced indeed an additional train whereby gas will be utilized from Block 61 and from other blocks, by the way, but some gas will come from Block 61, and that is basically, roughly speaking, the 300 million SCF per day, which will be additional to the current production. I hope this answers your query.
So if I understand that correctly, the additional production will happen only if the train comes on stream. Is that right? Because you don't have another ESA right now.
Well, theoretically, you are right. So the additional production indeed will be tied with the LNG when it is ready. However, there are some other discussions going on possibilities to monetize maybe part of the gas in a special way. I cannot comment more on that, but we are in discussion on some early monetization.
When you say early monetization, when is it expected to come?
So something that could come as early as next year, perhaps.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks. A quick question on Block 61 again. See, you mentioned in your report that 61 contributes to around 40% of your working interest production. This means somewhere around 90,000 barrels BOE per day. But last year, when you came up with the IPO, you mentioned that the block was producing around 101,000 barrels per day. So why is there a lower output during this year? I know it's not the lower output because Block 61 should be producing equally, and it has plateaued. So why is the difference in numbers?
The turnaround.
So the only thing that we have seen in 2025, when we have turnaround basically for maintenance in Block 61 in Q1 to 2025, that would have caused a slight reduction to the output from Block 61. Sorry. Otherwise, there is no change from last year, apart from the turnaround for maintenance.
So second half, we should be looking at around 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, we are okay now. We are about to finish, but I think we can still accept one question. The last question from Jasim Hamdan. Please go ahead, Jasim.
السلام عليكم، مساكم الله بالخير اخي جابر ودكتور انور، اتمنى لكم التوفيق ان شاء الله انتم وزملائكم. انا الحقيقه يمكن دخلت على الاجتماع قبل شويه وما كنت حاضر الاجتماع بشكل عام. اتمنى احد من الاخوان الشباب العمانيين شاركوا في هذه المناقشه. اشوف حضور ما شاء الله فوق 80 تقريبا، وهذا اكثر من رائع. نشوف اول مره اشوف شركه عندنا والواحد صراحه يفتخر في هذه الامور. اتمنى لكم التوفيق عموما. انا بس عندي سؤال بسيط اخي دكتور انور واخي جابر بخصوص القيمه المحليه المضافه. طبعا شركه كبيره وما شاء الله اصولها كبيره ويعني لها دور كبير في الاقتصاد. طبعا احنا نتمنى يكون لها يعني اذا كان تعطونا بس فكره بسيطه عن الشركات الصغيره المتوسطه، شركاتنا قدوه شبابنا العمانيين بشكل عام حاليا الموجوده والمستقبلا، كيف تفكروا على اساس ان تضيفوا بعض الشركات نبغى نشوف يعني يستفيدوا الشركات المحليه اكثر في هذه الشركات اللي هي الكبيره اللي عندنا. اذا كان في دكتور انور ولا انت خبرنا فرصه يعني شيء بسيط اذا كان في الامكان. شاكر لك.
شكرا اخي جاسم، شكرا على المداخله. طبعا بالنسبه للقيمه المحليه المضافه، يعني شركه اوكيو للاستكشاف والانتاج يعني ألزمت نفسها وأيضا في مبادرات عديدة. طبعا في ضوء أيضا بالتعاون مع جهاز الاستثمار العماني ومبادرات اللي أطلقها الجهاز خلال سنتين 3 سنوات الماضية من تطوير الشركات الصغيرة المتوسطة، العمل على إسناد أي مناقصة بقيمة 10,000 ريال للشركات الصغيرة والمتوسطة. كذلك أيضا تسريع عملية الدفع بالنسبة للشركات هذه أنها ما تتجاوز 15 يوم، وتم تحديد هذا كمعيار للتقييم في معظم شركات الجهاز بما فيهم اوكيو للاستكشاف والإنتاج، أن يتم الدفع للشركات هذه بشكل مسرع في حدود يعني أقل عن 15 يوم. أيضا في مبادرات أطلقتها اوكيو للاستكشاف والإنتاج لتطوير الشركات الصغيرة المتوسطة والأخذ بإيدها في بناء الحوكمة، وأيضا إنشاء قوائمها المالية، وكذلك أيضا سياسات المشتريات. فنقوم بتطوير حوالي تقريبا 2 إلى 3 شركات بشكل سنوي، وبالتالي بما يمكنهم من الدخول في مناقصات اللي تطرحها الشركة، أو حتى أيضا الشركات اللي موجودة في قطاع النفط والغاز بشكل عام. في مبادرات ثانية تبنتها أيضا الشركة بالتعاون مع وزارة الطاقة والمعادن من خلال مساهماتها أيضا في المشاريع المختلفة. أيضا الشركة من ناحية التنمية الاجتماعية نقوم حاليا بتنفيذ العديد من المشاريع في مناطق الامتياز اللي فيها احنا وحتى مع شركائنا، وأيضا في محافظة مسندم تقريبا حوالي في حدود تقريبا 3 أو 4 مشاريع حاليا قيد التنفيذ. إن شاء الله متوقع الانتهاء منها على نهاية هذه السنة بتكلفة تقريبا ما يقارب 3.5 مليون ريال عماني بالتعاون مع مكتب معالي السيد المحافظ مسندم. كل هذه المبادرات ولله الحمد مكنت الشركة من احتواء وتطوير العديد من شركات الصغيرة والمتوسطة. أيضا بالتعاون مع مقاولين عندنا في الحقول، سواء في مناطق الامتياز اللي احنا نديرها مثل منطقة الامتياز رقم 60 أو في مناطق الامتياز الأخرى مع شركائنا الشركات العالمية. نحاول نحفز الشركات هذه إنه تدخل في مناقصات وإسناد للعديد من العقود المساندة في الخدمات أيضا للشركات الصغيرة والمتوسطة، بما يساعد أيضا في تأهيل هذه الشركات وتمكينها من المنافسة. وهذا هو العنصر المهم، تمكينها من منافسة مع الشركات العالمية في سوق النفط والغاز داخل السلطنة، وأيضا بناء مهاراتها وإعطاها الفرص الأكبر في منافسة على المستوى خارج السلطنة. وهذا بما يؤهلها يعني واحدة من الشركات اللي ممكن احنا فخورين بالتعاون معها، وأيضا وصلت إلى هذا يعني خلينا نقول لهذه الدرجة، هي شركة أبراج لخدمات الطاقة، حاليا تدير عقود وتدير عمليات حفر خارج السلطنة.
شكرا اخي جابر على هذا الايضاح. اتمنى لكم التوفيق انت وزملائك مثل ما تفضلت قبل شوي. بس يا ريت يكون في التقرير السنوي يعني بعض هذه الاشياء الملامح بخصوص خصوصا الشركات اللي يديروها الشباب العمانيين بيكون شيء جيد يعني هذا اشياء ايجابيه عن شركاتنا واتمنى ان شاء الله تكون موجوده.
ان شاء الله.
شاكر لكم واتمنى لكم التوفيق جميعا ان شاء الله.
شكرا جزيلا.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jaber and Jasim. So I think thank you all, and that is the conclusion of our call today. Thanks again for your participation. If you have any follow-up questions, please contact Investor Relation teams. You can find our details on the IR website. And transcript of this call will also be made available on our website soon this week. Thanks again and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Recording stopped.
Thank you very much. So many questions.